Scooby-Dooby-Doo, where are you? We got some work.
Debuting on television in 1969, Scooby-Doo has been wildly popular and has since then been a part of many childhoods. While the show has made several reincarnations, there have been no signs of stopping. They've made several specials on television, had many guest stars, even had several live-action movies. They sucked. Then in 1998, Scooby-Doo started a line of direct-to-home movies, starting with Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island. The movies would actually feature the group in the very first television show, much older and even holding a much darker tone than Noah. The game we are looking at is based off the fourth film. This would be the last film to be made by Hanna-Barbera Studios, which was absorbed into the parent company of Warner Bros. Animation following William Hanna's death in 2001. I'm of course talking about Scooby-Doo and the Cyber Chase. When the gang gets trapped inside a video game by the Phantom Virus, it's up to them to solve this mystery and survive the game. With a movie story like that, making a game based off it seemed like a no-brainer, so in 2001, Cyber Chase was released by THQ. This game must have done well because it got the greatest hits title on it. Yeah, because when I think of PlayStation's hits, I think of Final Fantasy VII, Resident Evil 2, Ape Escape, and Scooby-Doo and the Cyber Chase. What, you don't? Losers.
Now this was the very first PlayStation game I've ever owned, and even as a kid I didn't really like it. But at the same time, I didn't hate it. So that makes me wonder, is the feeling still the same after all these years? Well, only one way to find out.
Before I go on about the game, I want to point out the title screen, and then I gotta admit, this made me smile.
Scooby-Dooby-Doo, where are you? We got some work to do now.
Okay, I won't lie. It's really cool to hear the original theme song after all these years. And keep in mind, if this game came out 1 year later in 2002, we could have heard this.
One thing at a time.
So the game opens up with Scooby-Doo and Shaggy already inside the game.
Like, isn't this groovy? We're the stars of our very own video game. Yeah.
Well, technically speaking, you already had 5 before this.
We are then introduced to the Phantom Virus, and it's up to the gang to beat him.
Sounds like a job for Mystery Inc.
Well, you could call tech support, but I guess that doesn't matter.
So what do? They split up. Velma will be a helpful guide to the game, while Fred and Daphne will, look for a trap.
Good night, everybody.
Which means it's up to Scooby and Shaggy to fight the virus.
Yes, the two that would run from the monsters the most are now in charge of fighting them. That's like telling me there's a guy with nickname Chicken Heart in charge of a helicopter, and it's shocking to see him run away from a zombie infection.
No! Don't go!
Oh yeah.
So Scooby-Doo and the Cyber Chase is actually a 3D linear platform made up of 7 worlds with 3 levels in each world. The first 2 levels are the platformers, while the final level is the boss. More on that later. At the start of each world, you play as either Scooby or Shaggy. You don't get to pick, it's automatically chosen for you. It's not like it matters, since both play the exact same. As I mentioned, the first 2 levels are 3D linear platforms. All you do is go from start to finish, grab the box of Scooby snacks, and beat the level. I guess this is a good point to talk about the gameplay as well. Being a 3D linear platform, you run and jump to the end. The controls for this game is... well, they're okay. There does seem to be a little bit of stiffness in the controls, and it does feel like there's a slight delay from running and jumping. For the most part, the controls are okay, and you can adjust to the stiffness really quickly. Note how I said most. Shaggy does get 2 other forms of controls, a snow sled and a skateboard. This is when the controls go from okay to annoying. The controls go from stiff to way too loose. Any slight push to the left or right sends you clear to the other side, making death quite common in the stages. Luckily these are very short stages, so they go by pretty quickly. While going to the end of each level, you'll find several items all around. The first one you'll notice is Scooby Snacks, which act like coins from the Super Mario Bros. Games. By collecting 100 snacks, you can get an extra life. But there's a little trick that the game decided to add. By picking up several in a row, you start a combo system, multiplying the number of snacks that you have picked up. So let's say you find a row of 5. By picking them up one by one, you'll pick up 5 snacks. But if you pick all 5 quickly, you suddenly pick up 25, meaning you only need 75 more snacks or 3 more rows of 5 just to get an extra life. This makes the game way too easy, as lives just seem weightless and they don't have any meanings like any other games. I know this game was made for kids, but so was Super Mario Bros., and those lives mean much more, whereas this game gives lives away like mints from a restaurant. By the end of one world, I had so many extra lives and many of them came from snacks. Speaking of which, you'll find extra lives in the game in the form of tokens with either Scooby or Shaggy's faces on them depending on who you play. I have to say, I kinda like this idea. Being stuck in a video game and the lives are in the form of tokens, it's kinda nice. But all these lives are out in the open, making that good feeling of finding the hidden life in the world kinda pointless. The next item you'll notice are hamburgers, which heal you if you take any hits.
Yummy, yummy, yum! You lucked out, Scoob! Those hamburgers look delicious! Eat 'em all up, pal! They'll give you energy!
I'm sure there's a joke about having a huge craving and being high, but I can't think of one at the moment.
There was one other food item throughout the game, and it's not for healing, it's your main weapon. Pies!
Yeah, pies. What, you expecting shotguns? I mean, this is Scooby-Doo. Though that kinda makes me wonder, why aren't they eating them?
I mean, this is Scooby and Shaggy. Bottomless pits wouldn't describe how much these two eat. My only guess is that Fred must have told him that these pies were not for eating. I wonder how that went.
We are not going to eat them, numbskull. We are going to throw them.
Anyway, these pies are your main weapons, which can take out any enemy with one pie. Except for bosses, of course. These pies must be strong because they can take out anything. Sumo wrestlers, dinosaurs, even undead gladiators. How sad is that? Yeah, I have been given life once more, and I will defend this spot from you and... Wait, is that a cream pie? Wait, I'm allergic! While going through the world, you can find more pies and other items in boxes in the level. All you do is smash them with your butt. But there are two things to note about the pies. The first thing to note is that pies don't carry over from one level to another. No matter how much you have by the end of one level, you're automatically starting with 5 more in the next.
The real problem with the pies is this. Killing enemies do nothing.
They don't drop any health or any items or even add to your score. These enemies are in the game because that's what the game has. Your score is based entirely off the items you collected. The pies, the hamburgers, the snacks, and the extra lives. At the end of the level, you get a scorecard with all the items you collected. This isn't bad if you're collecting every item in the game, so you can check off what you missed, but it's kinda odd that your score is not based on enemies. That's like saying in an RPG if you only got experience not based off on the monsters you kill, but the number of potions you use. It just seems silly. Graphic-wise in this game, it's okay. All the models look okay, except for the Phantom Violet. I mean, he looks like he's made out of a plastic toy. A cheap plastic toy. The levels are okay as well, but not all of them do great. Some of them are suffering because there's nothing special about them. Especially the city level. It's so... Ugh. The music in this game is, once again, okay. All the songs give a good feeling to the world that they fit in, but it's just an underwhelming feeling. It's just so soft and boring and hardly noticeable, except in the city world. It has great music. As I said, you do fight bosses in the game at the 3rd level. Each boss fits the world that they're in, so you get a samurai in Japan, a lion in Rome, a T-Rex in Jurassic, etc, etc. Every boss has a life bar that takes up 3 hits, and don't worry, if you forget, Velma will constantly remind you. Every single time.
Avoid his attacks until you're given a chance. Then throw a pie at him. 3 times should do it. Wait until he gets tired, and then take your chance. 3 hits from your pie, and you should have him beat. Keep on your feet and wait for your chance. 3 pies should do it. Wait for your chance, then throw a pie at the robot. 3 hits should do the trick. Then wait for your chance and throw a pie at him. 3 pies, and he's out of there.
You got through the pyramid, but you won't get past me.
Well, gee, here I am battling the boss again, but I can't remember how many pies I need to defeat the enemy with. Let me see. 1! No, that's stupid. 2! I know! 5!
Freeze up!
Oh, right! 3! God, I wish I had someone to constantly remind me over and over again. That wouldn't be silly at all.
The bosses are easy. All you do is dodge their attacks and wait to toss a pie. Yeah, you just don't toss pies whenever you want to. You have to wait until the boss is exhausted and shown on screen. If that wasn't enough, you also get a chance sign flashing when the boss is open to attack. This seems kinda dumb. I mean, I can clearly see when the boss is open to an attack, so why add this as well? I mean, why stop there? Why not add a big neon light with big arrows pointing at the boss when spotlights are shining down on him, and a big target sign just appears right in front of them while fireworks are blasting off in the background saying, "Hit him!" You know, just so we're clear. Fighting the bosses are easy. Their attacks are very noticeable, and it doesn't take a lot to figure out where they're going to strike. In fact, only a couple bosses might give you some trouble, that being the mummies and the Phantom Virus himself. The mummies are only difficult because you have to push the mummies off with pies. Well, saying that just takes a lot of credit away from mummies. And the Phantom Virus is only hard due to the change of the speed of the boss. Yeah, bosses up to him have been slow and predictable. The virus is much faster and hard to predict where his attacks are coming from. His attacks can hit anywhere on the field, and it's so hard to judge, mostly because of the camera angle and this field. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention the camera. It rarely moves. In fact, I think the only time it moves is during the T-Rex boss, but only then, just a little. This doesn't seem bad at first, but when you get to the final boss, it's really hard to judge where the virus is going to strike. I just need the camera to move just a little bit more up. The other problem with this boss is the field. It's just so empty and dull. Other bosses' fields were much better. They worked well with the boss and the world that they're part of. Here, it's just data in the background to a transparent field. I mean, it's okay, but it doesn't seem to have that same uniqueness. Why not have the virus have a field that's a mixture of all the old fields together? Or switch around because he's a virus and the game just can't stand it? Or put him in the city? Or better yet, put him in a baseball field? Oops, spoilers. But after a while, you can figure out how the boss works, and you finally beat him.
And that's it. Once you beat the boss, it just goes right back to the title screen. There's no unlockables, there's no extra modes, or anything at all. After all these years, this game still has the exact same feeling as a kid. I mean, it's like chewing gum.
This game is really simple. There's nothing really special about it. Not the graphics, the music, or the gameplay. But then again, there's nothing wrong with it. Like Gum, once you start this game, you find yourself still playing this game until you beat it. But also like Gum, it doesn't last long. This game isn't really that hard and you'll beat it before you even know it. And once you beat it, there's no reason to play it again unless you want to waste some time.
If you're a huge Scooby-Doo fan, you might enjoy this game. But for others, I'd probably pass on it. The game is just so simple, it doesn't have much to offer. At the same time, if you pick this up, there's no harm in it as well. I would, however, recommend the film that it's based off of, and the films that came before it. They're actually better than given credit for, and Cyber Chase has a lot of things that classic fans would love. But this game, if you like simple and you have some time to waste, pick it up. Well, that's all I gotta say about this one. I'm at Chopsticks, and I really want a hamburger all of a sudden.